We are the Long Island Tea, where we spill the tea.
It's true. We're from Long Island, so we say, how you doing? How you doing?
I don't.
We're in the middle of the vines.
Yes.
Because it's Memorial Weekend. So
It's
there's
kickoff. We're here. It's summertime. Long Island wine of the week.
I'm thankful for our hot teas.
Yes. That's like such a Long Island thing.
We're just talking about real life.
Right.
That's what we do. Welcome back. Can't even say it. Can't even muster it. To the Long Island Tea, where we spill the tea on pretty much how tired we are on Long Island now.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm Kristen.
I'm Sharon.
And we were just talking for a second before we went live about how none of us can anymore. We all can't. Everyone in this room can't.
Cannot.
It's just a lot.
It is.
We were just saying, like, so I mean, I guess, how you doing?
How you doing?
I'm doing.
We're surviving.
Seriously. Oh, barely. Barely. But Alyssa was just saying, like, it's the end of the year activities, and it's just the end of the year school. And it's amazing what they cram in, especially in high school. Like, I've never been in a place where prom is 2 days before graduation.
Right.
Usually prom is a totally different time of year.
Well, they do it because I know for some schools, they don't want the kids traveling. A big thing to do after prom is go away, go to rent a hotel somewhere and party hard and all that stuff. So they do it so that you'll have to come back.
Oh, they
so
do
you'll
it.
Be there for
They're
graduation.
still doing it. It's crazy. They all go to the Hamptons, or I guess now the North Fork too.
Yeah.
And anyway, it's crazy. But even the little kids, like the
little
graduations
kids,
and the moving up and the parties and it's Spirit Day and like I can't.
I have both my kids are moving up. Everly's going into preschool, like actual preschool.
Amazing.
And Braden's going into 6th grade. So
no,
he's graduating
it's not
fifth
okay.
grade.
Nope,
right?
That's not happening.
Same time, same day, same district. And I'm like, really?
No.
You couldn't think about that? That there's like multiple kids?
Seriously?
Yeah. And also they have like rescheduled field day and the end of your picnic. Oh, same day, same time.
What?
I'm like, why?
So what are you
So
guys
we're
going to
literally
do? Divide and conquer.
Dividing and conquering.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's such a bummer.
But like Alyssa said, like it just keeps on going every day. It's something different, an art show and all.
Everyone, and then pile on everything we've got going on here.
Yeah, professionally,
which is like everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny. We're launching so much. We've got so many things that we're doing.
It's so exciting.
Oh, okay. Yes, but like also exhausting. Like it's funny because we have some stuff. We have so many things we're launching. Michael and I were at a press conference today, which I'll tell you about, and then we have a press conference next week to talk about something else. And then we have a whole thing that's live right now, kind of, but we can't talk about it because we haven't launched it. And everyone's like, I was kind of mentioning it to some of my colleagues at City Nation Place at my conference, and they want to talk about it.
Right.
I'm getting emails now. They want it to be part of the Visitor Services Summit. They're like, we want to showcase what you're doing.
Wow.
Use it as an example. Blah, blah. They're like, when are you launching it? I'm like, unclear.
Unsure.
Nope. I don't know. Like we're just trying to.
And it's live. Like that's the thing.
Work all the press conferences.
Yeah.
We've got so much going on, and it's like summer.
Yeah.
And I was telling Kenzie today, I'm like, still haven't done anything fun for summer.
Right. Well, the weather's been kind of gloomy.
Yeah, I mean, today it's weird. It's for sure.
I feel like last weekend was the first weekend that it was actually like summer days.
Yeah. And I wasn't here.
Right.
I mean, I'm like, where's my Long Island? I'm like, somebody was talking about August today, and I'm like, you need to give me those dates because August is filling up. And then I'm like, oh my God.
It's filled.
When are we going to the beach?
Right.
I haven't been to the beach yet.
Ugh.
And Michael hasn't. It's crazy.
I know.
I just, anyway, so it's been nonstop. But, and you want to hear a funny story? I was going to tell you this last week, but speaking of end of the year stuff, so the high school has these scholarships that they give out at the end of the year.
Yes.
And you apply for a whole slew of them, and they're little. Like some of them are, it could be anywhere from $200 to $2,000. Yeah. And it's the longest ceremony of all time. Mm-hmm. There's actually an intermission. Like awards night, there's an intermission.
Well, your district is big.
It's big. And every realtor and every business, they give like a little scholarship, a couple $100, because then there's a commercial for them. And all the parents are like, you're forced to sit there and listen. So it's basically a commercial. So, but then there's one scholarship every year. We learned about it last year when Kenzie was there. And we were like, this is a total Long Island iconic scholarship. And Penelope won the scholarship this year. So the scholarship is dedicated to students who excel for whatever reason, that are great. But it's donated by, or it's in the name of 2 police informants that were murdered by the mob.
Oh my God.
I'm like, that's real. That is a real scholarship on Long Island. And it happens every year.
That's crazy.
Kinsey's like, I tell my friends about it in Arizona State, and they're like, shut up.
I know, that's funny.
Like,
and
no, there's a real, and Penelope
got it.
We're like, you won the mob scholarship. Oh my God.
Crazy.
That's like Long Island gold.
Yeah, that is.
There's really a scholarship dedicated to informants that were murdered by the mob every year. So you got to love that. That's fun. But Thomas and I went to Atlantic City.
Yes.
Which is another reason why I'm so tired, I think. Because it's when that's your weekend.
Yeah.
That's, I saw you. I had gotten in town at 1:30 in the morning, did the podcast, do all this, went to the farmer's market.
Right.
So fun.
I loved that.
Wasn't that so
spinach
fun?
bread. Bomb.
Was it good?
You know what I did?
What?
I went home and I put it in the oven and warmed it up a little bit. And then I took cream cheese and some garlic and I mixed it together and dipped it in there. Oh my God. So
wow,
good.
fancy.
It's like my very own Scanacopia, whatever those things are called.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I don't know what they're called. What? Spanakopita. Okay. And but I know what you're talking.
Yeah.
Isn't that cute?
Oh
Farmer's
my God,
market?
so cute. We saw Pindar.
We did. He's so sweet. Yeah. He's so sweet. And I bought everything. Mm-hmm. Sharon was laughing at me. I'm like,
every 10. She's like,
every 10. I'm like,
I'll take the chicken parm, the vodka sauce, the pasta,
the banana pudding, and I'll do
some
chocolate
Sauvignon Blanc.
I bought this is what we do. I'm like, I love it.
Thought you were gonna buy bunnies.
The one thing we didn't buy was that mac and cheese cupcake.
I know, we eyeballed it.
That was close.
That was close.
Yeah, and
see, it's questionable. Right? Yeah. You think it sounds good. And then then you really think about it and you're like,
yeah, I almost bought some bees or honey or something. I don't know. I was like, what do you got?
And there was cute little bunnies behind somebody's table. You're like, are they for sale? And I'm like, stop.
No, Kenzie was asking. She was like, we should buy one. I'm like, I just saw the bunny in our yard. Yeah. We have a bunny that lives in our yard for free.
Yeah.
Why am I going to buy one?
Oh, that's funny.
Anyway, so we did that. And then we went to the next day to Atlantic City. Beautiful.
Was it?
Beautiful weekend. It was very fun. Mm-hmm. Very fun. We had a good time. Did you see the video I posted on Facebook?
I was literally laughing out loud.
Hilarious. So our show was on Sunday because we went and saw Tina Fey and Amy Poehler on Sunday, but we got there on Saturday.
Right.
So we had dinner reservations at the sushi place because I'm not a big sushi person, but Thomas loves sushi.
Okay.
And it was his birthday weekend. So fine. So we're in the middle of this very nice dinner at the Hard Rock Casino Hotel. And the alarm starts going off in the entire resort.
And it's not just an alarm. Oh. It's loud.
It's loud. And they're like, there is danger. There has been danger.
Danger suspected.
Yeah. You're like, and then what? And then I was thinking, because the first night of the show was going on that night.
Right.
Amy Poehler and Tina Fey was going on. I was like, this is happening during the show. So I'm asking the server, I'm like, does this happen a lot? She's like, more than it should probably.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I'm like, nobody moved.
And nobody got up. Your video, you're literally doing an aerial. And there's nobody's everybody's hanging out drinking their wine.
You could tell it was towards the end of our dinner. Yeah, because we were we'd had wine by that point. We'd been drinking all day pretty much because we were on the boardwalk.
Right,
we went to the beach bar. And so by the time dinner comes around, we're having sushi and wine. And I'm looking and nobody, there was an alarm going on, but there was no alarm by the people.
Right.
So I'm like, should we be worried? And Thomas and then they're like, we will keep you informed. Thomas is like, they're going to keep us informed, honey. We're fine. Let's just we're good. I was like,
just check on.
Okay.
So funny.
Anyway, and then the next day we had booked, they just started this Sunday brunch.
Ooh.
At the fancy steakhouse, Council Oaks. It was only their third week doing it.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then I got the email, so I booked it right away.
Right.
So amazing. And I'm like, why? These are my people. This is my home.
Yeah.
I'm like, why? I need more of this in my life.
Brunch.
Bottomless mimosas,
champagne.
bottomless Bloody Marys.
Mm-hmm.
The service was awesome. The white tablecloths, the different stations, like the bread station. Oh my God. Funny story, Sharon. So they had all these wonderful stations. They had the omelet and the salad bar and the bagel station and the raw. It was incredible. The breakfast, and then they had the bread and they had the dessert. So we finished, and then Thomas was like, I'll go get some dessert. What do you want? So they had these cute little smoothies and like a little straw, these like little tall shot glass things. And then I'd seen in this beautiful kind of like a vase, or like looked like a giant martini cup kind of thing, these pearl looking things, big fat pearl. And I was like, and a couple of those pearl chocolates. And he comes back with only the smoothie. And I'm like, what happened? Where's my chocolate?
Right.
And he's like, well, I think you're getting me into a Hang Joe situation again.
Oh.
I was like, you know what that story is, right? I had to tell the story. So I was like, oh, as soon as he said it. So when several years ago, I had the opportunity to go to China with NYIT, New York Institute of Technology. And I was very scared to go to China because I'm just like, I'm a very picky eater.
Yeah.
And I'm just very picky on pretty much everything. But it was wonderful, but I was starving the entire trip, because I don't really eat sushi or any of that stuff. And I didn't know what anything was. And so I was basically, I had learned at that point to pick up a grain of rice, white rice with my chopsticks. So I was starving. And then we got to go tour the hospitality school, my colleagues and I. So we go to the hospitality school, which was amazing because they teach culinary at the hospitality school. Sharon's dying because she knows the story. So it was more like, Americanized Chinese food. So it was like Panda Express kind of stuff or whatever. But still, it was not what we're used to. Anyway, so I was so excited. And so we were just loading up our plates. And then there was like a bread basket. And I had this beautiful loaf of like sesame braided bread. And I didn't want to it was like a small loaf, but I didn't want to leap half of it. So I put it on my plate. And one of my colleagues was like, where'd you get that bread? And I'm like, just don't get another one. I'll just share it with you when we sit down. And they're like, okay. And then my second colleague, Alan, came up to me and he's like, where'd you get that bread? And I was like, look, I'll just give it to you right now. So I go to tear it. It was rubber. It was not real bread. It was literally fake bread. Sharon can't even take it, right?
That is the funniest story. I remember you telling me this.
Not real. And it's fully on my plate. Walking around, me and this big, it looked so real, you guys. It was rubber. And we're trying to pull it. I'm like, stop pulling it.
Oh my God.
Stop pulling on the bread. I'm like, put it back right now. Cried laughing like you forever.
Funny.
So funny. And I was like, I was just like the bubble just burst. I was so hungry for that piece of bread.
Your mouth was watering for sesame bread.
Hang Joe. And then the funniest thing was we were leaving, getting out of China, and it had been a long trip, so everybody was really excited to just go home at that point. And we're at the airport, and they went to go look, buy stuff for the plane, my colleagues, and one of them came back and was like, I just pulled a Kristen at the store. And I'm like, what do you mean? Because this is days later. He's like, I just tried to buy a fake piece of fruit. He's like, had a fruit bowl, and I'm at the register.
Oh
and
my God.
They don't understand what I'm doing.
So
they're like,
funny.
no.
That's our decor. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Oh,
so Thomas said, when he comes back, he's like, honey, I think you're trying to put me in a Hang Joe situation. Because,
so funny.
And I look over and I'm like, right. They're like, they look like they almost look like bath pearls,
So funny.
So he's like, there was no tongs or anything. And I'm not going to put the fake stuff on my plate.
Right.
So then our waiter, Victor, comes over. He was the best waiter on the planet. I loved him. We were bonded. He was just refilling those mimosas. Oh, yeah. He was my king. He was my king. And I'm like, Victor, I have a serious question, and do not judge me. He's like, okay. I'm like, those pearl looking things on the dessert bar. Yeah. Fake or real? And he's like, no, and he's looked like it's all edible. It's food. Right. It's real. It's chocolate. And I'm like, are you sure? It's because, and he goes, yeah. I'm like, no one's eating them. And I'm like, he won't get them for me. And he's like, he looked at Thomas. I'm like, what? He's like, I will go get them for you. So funny. And they were fabulous. They were like little white chocolate, hollow things. They were amazing. But yeah, that was a funny,
so funny.
Because I could see it, because there were no tongs. They were like it looked like
how do you do it?
Yeah, like the jewels that you put in, you know, a fake vase or something. So
it's like beads and stuff. Oh my God, that's
yeah,
so
like
funny.
beads. So that was funny. we were having a good laugh about that.
I'm
Thomas
having a good laugh about
he
that.
won't touch the. I'm like, that looks good. I'll take that. He's like, not real food.
And I could totally picture Thomas like assessing the situation, like looking over it and walking around the table, looking for some sort of way to get it, and then realizing maybe that's not real.
One of the saddest stories of my life was when that bread was rubber.
Oh God.
I was like just
For
shedding a tear.
real.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, back to the rice.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
17 grains. Thank you.
Exactly. But anyway, then we went and saw Amy and Tina, and they were so funny.
My
and
question
you know what?
is,
Yeah.
can they play us in a movie?
Oh, Sharon, the entire time I'm watching them, I'm like, they're literally me and Sharon.
It is so true.
Because you said that, and I was like, oh my God. And the whole, not only their entire personalities, everything they talked about is what we talk about here on the podcast.
That is so funny.
They talk about Gen X
right?
the whole time,
right?
And how it's the best generation, and
oh
how
my
like
God, so funny.
how we were just raised on our own like wolves.
Yeah.
And nobody cared. And they talk about, oh my God, they had so many good things. They were talking about, Amy's like how robots are going to murder everyone.
Kill us.
She was like, obviously, we're all going to be murdered by robots.
Right.
She's like, but of course, our generation, Gen X, she's like, we'll be murdering robots, and Gen Z will have, they'll have babies with robots. She's like, so then as grandparents, we're going to have to decide, like, do we melt down our grandchildren or do we save the planet? Like, this is going to be on Gen X. Mark our words.
That is so funny.
No, but they talked about Mother's Day, and I loved it. Tina Fey was like, why is everybody trying to be a mother on Mother's Day?
Right.
No other holiday gets that.
Right.
But suddenly everybody's a mother on Mother's Day. Like, fur baby mother and this mother. Like,
yes.
get what?
Stop.
She's like, what? Anyway, it was, oh my gosh, they were great. They were
I'm
so funny.
Glad. I'm so glad you guys loved it.
We had the best time, and we came back, and Thomas had a great birthday.
Good.
Oh, and get this. Father's Day's next, right?
Yes, Father's Day.
Right, which by the time this airs will have been Father's Day.
Yeah.
This is the age-old question, because Thomas works from home.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't work from home, Sharon.
Right.
And also, I'm never even hardly at the office, so I shipped.
You're constantly out and about.
So I shipped his Father's Day present
Mm-hmm.
home, and I thought maybe I could intercept it. Nope, it's right there on the patio. So Tegan calls me yesterday. Thomas saw his gift.
Oh, man.
It's right there. He knows what it is. And he's like, why did you call your mother and tell her that? She's like, you're a bad actor. We're not. She's like,
oh, my gosh.
And they were like, why don't you just ship it to your office? I'm like, because I'm never at my office.
Right.
I mean.
What is it? Is it a boulder?
No, I still can't cross that bridge, Sharon.
I hear you.
No, you know what it is? I got him roof racks that fold down for the kayaks.
Yeah,
because
that's
poor
awesome.
guy, every time all summer,
Yeah.
he puts the roof racks on, and then he can't pull into the garage with them.
Right.
So then he has to like take them off, put them on.
Yeah.
So
That's
I got
perfect.
them the nice ones that
Good.
fold down.
In.
It's for him, for us.
Nice. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But ruined. What are you getting, Dan?
I don't know. Like,
Uh-oh. Go to our gift guide. There's some
I
good
know. I know. He's not like, I don't know.
Girl.
Pull it together. I know.
No, I'm just saying it's like coming up.
I know.
Guys are so hard.
I know. So I'm like, for Mother's Day, we went to, what is it? Stu Leonard's.
Oh.
And we got like beautiful filet mignons and like this delicious salad. Like I was able to like, what do you want for dinner? And I picked it all out, and he like made the fillets beautifully. Not like Paris in Vegas, but
So tender.
so tender. But no, we had a delicious dinner. So I'm like, what do you want for dinner? You want like surf and turf? Because now I got to cook a lobster. Questioning that. I don't know. I've done it once before with his help. But like, it's Father's Day. Like, I got to do it. I don't know. I don't know what to get the man that has everything.
I know. It gets harder, especially you guys have been together for so long too.
Right.
And it's so hard.
He loves to just like have the kids help him wash the car, like that kind of stuff. So
you'll think of something.
Yeah.
You always think of something at the very end, like so good.
Coming in clutch.
No, I kind of wonder, like, we should have gone too. We should have gone to Amy. You should have been me and you.
I know.
They were so good.
That's so funny.
But you know what? We have a huge amount of entertainment and music and people here on Long Island.
Yes, we do.
Famous people. And we also have people that have podcasts that cover
Yeah,
people
fellow
like that.
podcasters.
Yeah, exactly. So we actually have a really cool interview today with the podcast host of the Long Island Sound.
Yes.
right? And so we just thought we'd share this with you because there's so much to know about Long Island music and entertainment and all these, wonderful artists that live here and come from here.
So we can introduce our guest today for Stephen Yusko from the Long Island Sound podcast. Okay, we are joined by Stephen Yusko, the host of the Long Island Sound podcast. Welcome, Stephen. Thanks for joining us.
I am so happy to be here because we're talking about two of my favorite subjects, Long Island, the place that we all live, and music. So I'm really excited to talk about that. And it's International Music Day. So what's better than that?
Exactly.
Yeah. And Stephen, you have your own podcast. So you are really the expert on Long Island music.
I don't know if I'd call myself an expert, but I have, I would say, a very good curiosity about music. It's really in even the term for your stuff, discovery, discover Long Island. And that's what really kind of drove me to start the Long Island Sound podcast some 16 months ago, so it was out of an admiration for singer-songwriters and the wellspring of music that we have here on Long Island. And, we just all came out of COVID. So I was driven by, hey, you know what? I need to make some connections and some community. And I tell you, it's been a wild ride ever since.
How many episodes have you done so far?
Believe it or not, I have 81 episodes under my belt.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I generally do one a week. It all started with a guy named Jim Small. We started another podcast that fell apart. And I found out, hey, there's got to be a better way to do it. And I'm a techie guy, so I found technology in order to do remote interviews like we're doing now. Yeah. And I'm telling you, the musician community on Long Island, I just got to say this, it gives me chills. They are so generous. And one interview led to 2, 3, 5 other interviews and referrals. And just like us, we're just having a conversation about what we like. So that's why I love doing what I do.
That's great. And how many, really, who are some of your favorite local artists that you've had or your favorite guests so far?
Okay, so I've had, that's a tough question because I know I'm going to leave some people out, So let's go with my favorite artist that I've kind of had happenstance ran into. Really, one of my top picks are the Como brothers. Okay, they're from Mount Sinai. They sound just like the Everly Brothers. They put out, and I'm not kidding, 2 songs a month, and they're really tied into the social media to, dangle that lure to attract people to their music. So I'd have to say the Como brothers are one of my favorites. A guy who hasn't been a guest yet, Ed Travers, very famous on Long Island, plays a lot of Jimmy Buffett stuff. The consummate entertainer. I'm telling you, you go see Ed Travers anywhere on Long Island, and I guarantee you're going to have a good time.
You're going to have the Parrot Heads join you too, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Parrot Heads and Deadheads. What's better than that?
Well, Stephen, I think what you do with your podcast is so really interesting because so many people don't realize the depth and breadth of Long Island music and the scene and the history and the impact that musicians on Long Island have made, in the music world and still continue to do so today. So it's really, you have so much content to share.
Yeah, what is? I feel like I'm just hitting the tip of the iceberg when it comes to that. And I just got to tell you really quickly how I came up with the Long Island Sound podcast. Mm-hmm. It was from a Billy Joel speech at the Long Island Music and Entertainment Hall of Fame, where he said, hey, you know what? The Long Island Sound is more than a body of water that separates us from Connecticut. And boom, the light bulb went off. Mm-hmm. I Googled it right away, and I'm like, holy mackerel, nobody else has got this name. Grabbed it right away. And then the ride kind of continued. But, it's funny, one leads to another. I also got to throw kudos out to Mike Nugent. He's one of my other favorite artists. He was also my guitar teacher. And all these artists, whether they're up and coming or the well-established, have some of these phenomenal stories that just kind of come out of left field. But I got to tell you about one that came to mind. Mary Lamont, she's the queen of country music for Long Island. Okay, she's a DJ on WUSB. And I had Mary, and she's a great country singer. And she had a story that came out of left field. She had a connection with Alice Cooper. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what do you mean, Alice Cooper? It was Alex Cooper's bass player who was a country music fan. She happened to be the receptionist for Alice Cooper in New York City, who talked her into being a country music star. So,
wow,
just cool stuff like that.
It is cool stories.
You
that
know,
you
Alice
find.
Cooper, for your, I'm a transplant from Arizona. Alice Cooper lives in Arizona. I've met him many times. He was actually a great tourism ambassador for us,
Wow.
and he's huge in Germany and international, especially still. And just really, really terrific guy. Interesting fact about him: scratch golf handicap.
Oh, absolutely.
Amazing golfer.
Now, you said you're from Arizona. There's another guest that I had, Kelly Baker, a phenomenal blues singer. She won the Long Island Blues Society, and she's been all over the place. I think she's signed by Sony. She's originally from Arizona, transplanted to Huntington. And keep an eye on Kelly, Kelli Baker. She's really, really great on what's going on.
We're invading Long Island as Arizonans.
Yeah.
But I mean, people know, you said Billy Joel. People have heard of, Mariah Carey and Ashanti and all of these, Debbie Gibson. So, I mean, Pat Benatar, Joan Jett. There are so many. What do you think the secret sauce is on Long Island that generates so much of this musical talent?
You know what? I think it's a couple of things. One, I'd have to say it's the diversity of Long Island. Hey, you know what? Where stones throw from New York City and Brooklyn, which is the center of the world. And then you have Long Island, which, for those who are listening who are not from Long Island, you got to come here because it's just not traffic and taxes. Okay. There are so many great things to do. And I think, if I can say, a great place to start is the Long Island Music and Entertainment Hall of Fame. I mean, you touched on the different artists out here. Miles Davis is from Long Island, and you have not only music, but you also have like all the famous comedians, Eddie Murphy, some of the other people. Eddie Money is from Island Trees, the town that I grew up in. Pat Benatar, I think, was from Lindenhurst or Massapequa or that areas. But and then you have, and this is what, just to tell you something personal. I'm getting up there in age. I'm on the back nine, as they say. And I didn't want to get caught in just reminiscing about the music that I liked in the 70s. Wanted to keep it fresh, And that's what I love about my podcast, if I can do a plug, The Long Island Sound, is
Absolutely.
I open myself to other genres that I typically wouldn't listen to. And one of them is hip hop, okay? And I ran across two bands. One is called Aqua Cherry. It's a funk hip hop band. Energy will blow you out, okay? Another one, oh God, what's their name? It'll come to me. Nonstop to Cairo. Okay. I don't know how I found these guys. They just came out with an album, Kai. They had one of their members passed away who was a great artist. And what a great tribute album to their passing band member. It was really kind of cool. And then,
it's the
go ahead.
50th anniversary of hip
China
hop.
Cathy here.
Exactly.
The other thing is I had a hard rocker on, okay? I'm not a hard rock guy, but I'm open to finding out what the heck drives you to hard rock music to get the angst out. And I spoke to a guy named Mark Valentino from Armageddon, of all names, and they're really well known for years here on Long Island. So it's kind of opened my eyes to be a little bit more curious and go on this discovery mission that I'm on.
Yeah, and then there's the whole documentary about Long Island's role in alternative music, and famous DJs as well, like you said, entertainers like Larry the Duck.
Mm-hmm.
Larry the Duck was a guest on my podcast. I used to listen to WLIR. That is a great documentary that you point out. You got to check it out. It's amazing the influence that a small radio station had in bringing in the UK invasion and punk music. And they were, if I'm going to throw a little thing out there, they were the first ones to introduce U2 to the United States.
Wow.
How's that for Long Island? And Larry's a great guy. He's also involved with the Long Island Music and Entertainment Hall of Fame. I had the great opportunity. I also write for nysmusic.com, and I got to do the grand opening, and I'm there. I'm meeting all these, I'm a schlub. Who the heck knows me, right? I'm meeting all these great people, but I got to tell you about one guy that blew my mind, a guy named Elliot Murphy. I had no idea who he was. Kindest man in the world from Garden City. Great story. He lives in Paris, and he plays over 130 shows a year. He's in his early 70s. He's a great writer. He was in a Fellini movie. He couldn't make it here in the United States. He had this great album called Aqua Show. He's in the Long Island Hall of Fame, by the way. He's inducted. by two of his friends, one being Billy Joel and the other one, Bruce Springsteen. And next thing I know, I'm interviewing him from Paris on my podcast. I mean,
amazing.
Who's got it better than
And that's
me?
what I was gonna.
You know?
I wanted to ask you is how do you
Sure.
find your artists? You know, like when you're doing your research and when you're looking for your guests and things like that. Is it by word of mouth, or do you do your own research and reach out to them?
Yeah, so a couple things. One, I'll hit the social media. I've gotten guests off of TikTok who found
Wow.
the Long Island Sound podcast, if you can believe that. A lot of it is referrals, really. I think, what it comes down to is the compliments I received is I've asked questions out of my own curiosity, and I take an interest in their music. I listen. I delve into their music before I have the interview. I look up their
of course.
bios.
Got to do your research, right?
Yeah, that's key. And you know what? Then it comes down to, hey, you got to talk to so-and-so. He's a friend of mine. He's going to love talking to you. Well, it's so interesting in this crazy world we're in. I don't meet many of my guests until after the fact. I'll walk into a bar or a venue and greet them and, oh, who's this white-haired guy? Oh, yeah, Steve, how you doing?
Aw.
So a lot of that is referral. But a lot of that is me reaching out and seeing what's happening on Facebook and on all the other platforms. And it is amazing to me how I've gotten guests by just sending an instant message to say, hey, it's a benefit for them, right? I'm featuring their music. I play 3 to 4 of their songs, exposing it out there. I lead them to their Spotify list, which they may make some ching on it, half a penny here, half a penny there. So I hope that answers your question.
Steve, another thing Long Island is famous for as far as music are our incredible venues.
Yes.
To see a show. So what are your favorite places to go see live music?
Okay, so I look at 2 different silos of looking at live music. Let's talk about the big venues out there. And you can kind of grab the town. So if you're going out on the night in the town, you're going to want to go to Farmingdale. There's a lot of live music. Farmingdale's exploding. It's really lively there. You got to go to Patchogue. Patchogue has music venue after music venue. 89 North is there. You got the Patchogue Theater there. You got to go to Huntington. You got the Paramount. Obviously, you can see the big shows there, but you can also go into the Legends Bar and see some local people that kind of warm up before you go into the show. So those are some of my favorite places. And then there's the small places. I like the neighborhood places. There are few and far between of those who will take the chance on a live original music. But I'll mention a couple. Katie's of Smithtown. Really great. Very notorious for that. You've got Garden Grill in Smithtown. Smithtown Theater out in Riverhead is phenomenal. Nutty Irishman in Farmingdale. Bayport Tavern in Bayport. They're really consistent in having local bands play. And it's really kind of like a Cheers neighborhood place. I really love it. Mulcahy's is another place. And I'll do a little plug too. Mulcahy's on June 27th has the Paper Bag Concert. The Paper Bag Concert is over 70 musicians playing across the evening on one stage, and they've been doing it for over 40 years.
Oh, wow.
So
that's incredible.
It's kind of like an underground thing that's going on. You can't just show up. You got to be invited as a recognized Long Island musician. One that I went to for the first time, unbelievable, is Stephen Talkhouse out in Amagansett.
Oh, yeah. Very famous.
And
Bon Jovi was there.
I had the great opportunity, and it took a while to get Nancy Atlas, who is a well-known person out on the East End. She was the bar band for Stephen Talkhouse for 16 years, and she's played with all the famous people you can imagine. Elvis Costello, Clarence Clemens. You go down the list. It's just amazing the people that she's played with. So it's very inspiring. I saw her back in May. And I'm telling you, I was exhausted just watching her. She really puts a lot of energy into it.
I've seen her live too. She's pretty amazing. And I always think it's awesome on Long Island that just the musicians, the access of musicians that, that we have, for example, Montauk Lighthouse was doing a fundraiser and, Paul Simon decided to play and you're like, okay, we're a little bit, we're definitely spoiled in that area.
Yeah. I'll get into the videos, but I can tell you really a quick story. I'm interviewing this guy, Peter Mancini, great artist, right? And Pete tells me this story. He's playing out at a yogurt shop out in the Hamptons, right? Guess who walks by the yogurt shop? Paul McCartney.
Right.
Wow.
Next thing you know, he runs outside, talks to Paul, just a casual conversation, no cameras, stuff like that. Goes back in, plays his third set, Sir Paul McCartney walks back in with his wife and was dancing to Pete's music.
Wow. That's awesome.
I mean, that's a Long Island story right there for you. I'll tell you.
Yeah. But
so we know.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Let's talk about the other venues that you got out there. So if you come into Long Island, you're going to go to the Long Island beaches, right? And after a long day at the beach, you're going to want to go to two places. One's the Boatyard in Oyster Bay along Ocean Parkway. Really nice venues taken over by a conglomerate of guys that are doing a really great job. And the other is Salt Shack. So if you want to go and listen to anything from tribute bands and you want to dance, those are the places to go to and have a
right on the water.
Yeah,
right on the water.
And
you know what?
You can get what's the
you can get a coffee
sauce?
if you want.
Something in the water.
Yeah, it's the water. So, Steve, you've been great. You tell us where to see music. You told us what to watch. We got to watch Dare to Be Different, which is the documentary.
Yep.
We know we need to listen to Long Island Sound, and we know we need to visit the Long Island Music and Entertainment Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're like a one-man Discover Long Island when it comes to music.
I appreciate the accolades. You're really being nice, So I'm just a regular guy who loves music. I'm enamored by people who can write songs and perform and entertain us and say the things and articulate the things that I might be feeling in my heart that I might not be able to say. That's what I love about music.
That's amazing.
Well, we love introducing you to our hot teas.
Yeah, where can they find you? Why don't you plug your socials and how to find your podcast?
So just search for the Long Island Sound. You'll find it on Apple Music, on Spotify, Stitcher, Google. It's up everywhere, but also go to gigdestiny.com and you'll find everything there for the podcast, who our featured artists are, way to rate. Please rate and comment on the show. I love your feedback. I've got a listener line. I've got a lot going, and there's a lot I'm juggling to get it done. But when you're passionate about this, I love it. And, I sign off, and I may have spoken to you. I always sign off my program by saying, keep your spirits high, be generous with your joy, and let the music take you on a journey. And hopefully that journey is to experience Long Island and all that we have to offer here. It's really a great place.
It's been amazing, Steve. Thank you so much for your time today.
Great. All right. We'll talk soon. Thanks so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Steve. Bye.
All right. Be well. Bye-bye.
He's so great and so much energy too. And I love, you can tell he's really passionate about what he does.
Yeah. And I think that he just loves music. And he even said it. He's like, I love people being able to tell a story through music. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of music, and you mentioned it during the interview, but so funny, when I was driving to Atlantic City in New Jersey, did you know that when you do that, you pass the John Bon Jovi rest area?
Oh, yes.
Have you ever been there? Thomas was like, do you want to stop at the John Bon Jovi rest area? I'm like, kinda.
Yeah.
No, we didn't, because Thomas has to make good time.
Right. That's awesome.
Have you ever you've stopped there?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's just a regular welcome center that's
I would
named
totally
after him.
buy merch.
Yeah.
The John Bon Jovi rest area in New Jersey.
It's just named after him.
And the other one was named after Judy Blume.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
I know. I thought that was so cool.
Aww.
So, you know what? Speaking of one more story about Atlantic City, and I don't know how. Okay, I kind of need you. This is how we're Amy Poehler and Tina Fey. I kind of need you to tell me if I'm off on this.
Okay.
So we drive to Atlantic City right after we passed the John Bon Jovi rest area, and it was Saturday, and it was 3 hours to get there.
Yeah, it's a long time,
and a lot of traffic because you're going through the city, or it's like a lot.
It's
to
always
get
traffic
there, and so stressful. Right? Yes. Stress. And what we knew from being there before is when you get from the parking structure and you walk through on the way to check in, they have all the grab and go restaurants like pizza. And we hadn't eaten and we weren't going to eat until later. So we were like, let's get a couple sandwiches before we check in, and then we'll take them to the room and just
unpack
eat.
And hang out,
have a little sandwich and then something light, and then go. So we stop at the sandwich place. Okay. And this, I can't. So we were kind of talking about what we're thinking about getting and kind of whatever. And I hadn't really discussed it with Thomas. And then we get to the register and I'm like, I'll have a turkey sandwich. And Thomas goes, I'll have a tuna sandwich. I'm like, immediately like,
what?
We're eating this
in our room.
In the hotel. We're just checking in. 3 days.
You're going to have a tuna sandwich?
You're going to just break it in. with the tuna sandwich. I was like, I've been married to this guy. I'm like, when do you order? You know what though? I was so blackout rage, I couldn't even speak. I was
kept it in?
Angry at this.
I'm so surprised
at this decision. I was floored.
But I'm surprised that
angry
you didn't.
Isn't right, but like I was so floored.
Yeah, that this was the decision made.
We're getting ready to have like a 3-day romantic weekend.
Right.
There's so much happening.
Right.
Like the room, your breath. I was like, it took everything I have. You know what I wanted to say is, you want extra onions on that? I was wanting to be right. I totally overreacted.
No, I'm with you.
Because you know when right. Read the room. Poor Thomas.
And he knows better.
He knows better now. Poor man was tortured all weekend. Because once I let it go, I won't let it go.
You won't let it go. That's right. For sure.
So the poor man, he was like, I'll never in my entire life order a tuna sandwich
with you.
Because you know when I get really angry, because then when I get super angry, I shut down. Mm-hmm. I stop talking. Mm-hmm. And so we're checking in, and he's like, what? He's trying to talk to me, and I can't even
look at him. Poor guy, it's his birthday.
I know. And then we get to the room and he's eating it and like little chunks are falling off. And I'm like, you need to pick this up. If any of this falls, it was like the fish and chips in the Louis Vuitton.
Right, exactly. That's all I can think of right now.
It was literally fish and chips in the Louis Vuitton story.
God.
And anyway, so I flipped out. Finally, once I was like, day one of the hotel, it's going to smell like
I'm going to take a shower.
Yeah. I was like, wash your hands because everything's smelling. And
poor guy.
He was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, you just should have said something. I'm like, how do you not? Yeah.
And he's so sweet.
I feel so bad.
Sweet.
Tortured the poor man.
Yeah.
Tortured it. So anyway, we got over it and we had a good weekend. But I had to tell you that. Okay, so we have some celebrity.
Yeah. Well, actually, I wanted to tell you, this is something that I think you would be interested in. Arizona-based ATL Wing Spot.
Okay.
Just opened up in Lynbrook.
Oh, I've never even heard of that.
Really?
ATL. That's Atlanta, right?
No, ATL. It's All the Love is what it stands for. But it's a very famous wing spot from Arizona. I thought you would know about this.
Oh my God, I feel stupid. Where did
Lynbrook.
Okay. Yeah. All right. No, let's go check it out.
We should. I love me some wings.
I know, but I feel like
speaking of,
it's going to be hot.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be hot.
Yeah, there's over like 22 flavors.
Ooh, I think people aren't going to be used to that that Arizona heat.
Right,
You got to get used to that. So real quick before we get into Long Island celebrity, where Michael and I were today, a little bit of Long Island life.
Yes.
We had the privilege of being at the press conference today that announced the new commission for the Long Island 250, which is the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence.
Right.
Which starts July 4th, 2026.
Yes.
So awesome. And Alyssa put together the LongIsland250.com website, which is on discoverlongisland.com also. So, man, this whole team came together. So quickly. Justine wrote the copy.
Yep.
We were like, we met like 2 weeks ago, not even.
Yeah.
Like last week we talked about it.
I think it was like right before you went away.
I think it was last week.
Right before
And they were like, can you do this? And we were like, yes, we can.
It's going to come to Discover Long Island. Of course we can.
Of course we can.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a logo contest if you're listening.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go to longisland250.com.
Yes.
And we have a little sign up form with your name and your email.
Right.
And so then when we announce the parameters and the criteria for the logo contest,
we can contact you.
We'll contact you so that you can, with all the dates and the details and the deadlines.
What I loved about this, honestly, was you were talking to the counties and they were talking about having like the schools do it. But then you said, like, open it up to everybody.
Yeah.
You can have, an amazing contest here.
I said, I'm like, what if the veterans want to do it?
Right. Exactly.
What if Alyssa's like, can I do it?
Yeah.
I'm like, Alyssa's going to tilt the scale there. She's going to grade it on a curve there. I don't see why not, because it's not us judging. It's going to be the Long Island 250 Commission.
Right.
And the commission is made up of the town historians.
Yes, I love this.
And Kinsey was with us too, because she's interning with County Executive Boulogne. So she was like, oh my God, the historians were so cute. And there were people in period clothing.
Costume.
And it was at Sagdacos Manor.
Yes.
Where Long Island, where George Washington slept.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'm trying to leave. Michael's like laughing. Everyone's stopping me. Excuse me, can I talk to you about the Huntington militia and how we do reenactments. And then somebody was like, meet my intern. And this is what I'm saying. Like, it's just so exhausting.
Stop. Yeah.
It's fine. And people in like period wear wanted to show me that they were wearing shorts underneath. And it was a scene. But it was really cute. And then this one guy, as I'm leaving, did you hear him, Michael? He was like, don't forget the town of Islip. People can say George Washington ate and slept, but we're the only place where he used the bathroom. And I was like, number 1 or number 2?
Right. I mean, what do you do?
He didn't answer. Exactly. He didn't answer. But I was like,
God,
I have questions. He didn't use the bathroom where he slept? I don't know.
That's funny.
I don't know.
Oh my
I have
God.
questions.
Everybody wants to come out and
I was
claim.
like, we'll denote that on the page. Just send me the information. The historical societies. You tell me what to say and I'll say it. But that's going to be cool. So you're going to be hearing a lot more about that. And thank you to the entire team who pulled that together.
Yeah, they did a really good job.
Melissa had like 3 hours, I think, to pull that website.
And she
together.
nailed it.
She nailed it.
She always does.
Okay, so celebrity.
Delvino.
Oh God, yeah. Well, thank God. We weren't gonna do wine today,
right.
And then I was like, Sharon,
today,
Michael, what do we have?
What do we got? Pull
And
something out of
Michael's
their
like,
fridge.
well, we do have some Delvino rosé. I'm like, thank the Lord,
Thank you.
because this day,
I know, and it's so good.
yeah, Delvino and our taste of Long Island.
Yes.
Can't go wrong.
So Delvino, we love Fred, and he's just so awesome. But their family passion for the art of winemaking dates back to the early 1800s in a small Italian village named San Lucio. We're drinking the rosé. It's delicious. It's
the best.
It's light.
It's really
beautiful.
good. It's really good. Oh, and by the way, Patrick and Ed, my besties.
Yeah.
I went to their wedding.
Yes, they got their
wine
Oh,
shipment because I got
good.
them the wine. It's a great wedding gift. If it's
really
wedding season,
is.
if you get a wine membership for somebody, it's so awesome because it keeps coming all year. And so he loves it. He texted me. He's like, "Oh my God!" And of course, it was summer, so they got like 8
all the
bottles of
rosés.
summer in the bottle,
Oh
all
my
the different
God.
kinds.
That's awesome.
They were like thrilled, and it's so fun because
yeah.
it's the gift that keeps on giving.
I love that.
Did you hear, celebrity? Pat Sajak is retiring.
Yes.
I mean,
Did you hear
Yeah.
who wants to take over?
no.
Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh,
What?
And
Oh, I didn't even know that it was on here. And Ryan Seacrest.
does Ryan Seacrest really want to take over?
I heard he's the front runner for it.
I love that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Can we
love
go
Ryan
back?
Seacrest.
Ryan Seacrest could totally do it.
What?
Wheel of
watched
Fortune. I watch it.
I watched it. I was literally watching it last night. Celebrity Wheel of Fortune.
Literally,
I'm like, yes.
my family,
Yeah.
we literally
It's crazy.
yell at the
While
TV.
you're making dinner,
Yeah,
Celebrity
exactly.
Wheel of Fortune, Celebrity Wheel of
It's
Fortune.
so funny.
Pat Sajak is Vanna gonna retire when he retires? I don't know. No, they tried that. When Pat Sajak had like a medical situation last year, Vanna tried to take it up. She couldn't do it. She tried. It's not her forte. Like, she's
Right.
perfect. She's beautiful. She turns the letters, which probably not everybody could do.
Right.
I mean, the skill to like walk and click, whatever it is that she does, that takes poise. No, but it was really, it didn't work out. Ross Matthews would be
Matthews should do it.
hilarious.
That's funny.
Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah.
Although, because it is kind of like Pat Sajak has like this nice dry
Yes.
delivery.
he's
And I
always
can
like,
see Ryan Seacrest doing that.
you do? See, I don't see. I see Whoopi doing that.
Yeah, she'd be cool too.
But
I
don't
mean,
know.
I don't know. She's a little bit casual. I don't know. I feel like Pat Sajak's always in his suit. He's like, I don't know. He seems more formal. Whoopi seems a little bit more casual.
Yeah.
Which is why I think, again, I can kind of see Ryan Seacrest or, like a Ross Matthews or somebody like that doing it.
Ross Matthews should be Vanna. Like,
Oh, Ross
yes.
Matthews should
That
be
would be
Vanna. That's
Oh
awesome.
my God, that's a good
He
idea.
could
Flip
totally
the
do that.
script, Alyssa. Yeah, well, that's kind of what Michael's saying. Have the woman do it and have the guy do the thing. That's it. I mean, yeah, okay. Listen, it's going to be interesting, but cheers to Pat Sajak for 40 years. 40 years. And
40
Vanna
41
White doing it.
seasons. That's crazy.
I mean, what a legacy.
I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
Are you following the chicken wars on TikTok?
No,
This is
you and Allison were
hilarious.
talking about this. I need to know what this is.
You have to look up Chicken Wars 2023. It's people like doing TikTok videos where they're like, I'm bringing my posse, and they have literal chickens following. Now it just keeps TikTok is keep reposting or doing whatever. So it's a huge TikTok trend, And now, like the compilations that they're doing of all the chicken wars.
So
videos
what is who wins the war?
hysterical.
Who has the most chickens?
I guess. Oh my God, the one I have to send you this video that my sister sent me this morning is hysterical.
I need to see it.
You're gonna die.
We have free range like wild chickens in our neighborhood.
Yeah, no, these people have like hundreds of chickens, and then like some people are like, my girls are too pretty to fight in this war, and they're like these wild chickens with like bouffant hair and stuff.
Oh,
it's
all right.
wild.
Listen, that's what we need is some fun chicken TikToks.
Yeah,
you
it's
know, we need to
hysterical.
laugh. We need to have some wholesome fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm for that. That's so cute. Well, listen, we started this podcast. At least I did. Like wah wah.
Yeah, and you're uplifted now.
Yeah, I am. I have a
Good.
second one.
That
Thank
makes me
you, Sharon,
happy.
and thank you to Stephen
Yusko.
Yusko from the Long Island Sound, because he also brought the energy and
He
the
did.
positivity. I love the way he closes every single show.
Yes.
So you are going to be on vacation next week.
Yes, and you're going to be joined by Vanessa Gordon talking
Yes.
all things Hamptons, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I'm jealous because I want to be a part of that conversation, but I'll listen and I'll tune in.
Are you going somewhere fun?
It's like the end of the year stuff.
Oh,
I
yeah.
take off work to do this.
Okay. All right. So you'll have to fill us in.
Yeah,
Take notes.
I will.
Fill us in when you get back.
I sure will.
Oh, congratulations on your babies moving up.
Thank you.
All right. And thanks. Congratulations to everybody else listening are going through all the moving up ceremonies with your
Graduations,
kids,
yeah.
graduation. Enjoy
Prom.
the season. Try
It's
not
almost
to let it
over.
weigh you down. Exactly. And we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
The Long Island Tea Podcast is brought to you by Discover Long Island. For exclusive access to contests and promotions, follow Long Island Tea Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And for questions, comments, and collaborative inquiries, email spillthetea@discoverlongisland.com.